So in today's video, I've recently gotten asked to rank the players at Davenport from worst to best. This is in terms of only Rainbow Six. So I answered this question on stream, but it really got me thinking between D2 and D1, who is the best player at Davenport? So that's what we're going to be doing in today's video, is going into a tier list and ranking the players on the R6 Davenport team from worst to best. So for this video, it's going to be kind of free flowing. I have from S tier all the way down to D, but I have a king of D2 and S to D for D1. I don't have everyone's pictures here, but I will edit people's names and where I think they fit. So starting from the bottom of the list. So I don't have Eli or I don't have Austin in here, which are the two players that you're missing from these portraits. I'll give my explanation as to each placement, so don't worry. And I'm sure my teammates are gonna love this. Starting with the worst play. Now, here's what I'm gonna say. Okay, before we get into all of this, I'm not saying that these players are bad by any means. I'm comparing them to other players within the program. So it's kind of, you'll see that they're at the bottom of the list, but it's still not saying that, oh, you're a trash can player, right? It's just when comparing it to the other players, then it might seem like that. So don't get butthurt about any of these. At least I hope you guys don't. Starting with the worst, I'm gonna go with Julian, and the reason why I'm putting Julian at the bottom is because he doesn't put in as much time and effort compared to, say, other players. I think Julian has a great mindset in the fact that he doesn't get upset that easily, but he still has a lot of room for improvement to where if he would put himself forward, I think he could become a really good player. At C, well, we'll start with Alex. Okay, I don't want to start from the bottom up. I kind of just want to like place people wherever. Where do I think Sean sits? Well, where do we put Alex, right? Where do we put old Lapratty Patty? We're just gonna place him here for now. I think in terms of D1, the players on D1, I don't mean this in the negative way, Alex, but I'm gonna put you here at D. Now, this doesn't mean that you would slip down to D2 by any means, but what I mean by you're kind of at the, I guess, bottom of the totem pole, because here's my problem with D1, is that D1 is very close in terms of everyone has their own strengths, and everyone with those strengths is what makes us a good team. And I think Alex can be big brain at times, but you also make a lot of kind of dumb decisions at times where it's like, I understand your reasoning, but it's not the right time to apply it, if that makes any sense. For example, you'd be like, Blackbeard roam clearing basement with 20 seconds left on Villa, right? And then you're rushing up to like top floor because it's like a stat trophy. Like, okay, you're Blackbeard, you slow shit, and then you got to run all the way upstairs. Not really the best decision. I think your aim can improve. I think your aim is it's not the best, it's not the worst. It's just inconsistent because you play at a high sense. I think now that you've kind of fine-tuned your sense, I think you'll become a better player. I think Sean is like almost at the top of D2, right? Because Sean has a really good mindset when playing the game. He understands a lot of the concepts. I think he can be a really good entry player. And I think everyone on D2 has a lot of potential, but I think Sean, especially since he went to LAN with us, I think he's kind of got that edge a little bit on D2. Yeah, mechanics great, game sense good. Well, okay, mechanics good, game sense good, mindset great. He doesn't really get upset a whole lot, which is really good, and that's what you want to look for in a player. And he just kind of gels with a lot of people. Granted, like, Sean's a fucking bot. I think he's still a really good player, especially in terms of mindset. I think Liam goes in at the B slot. Mentality issues is like the main thing holding him back, right? I think Liam has good game sense, doesn't know how to portray it, doesn't know how to portray his feelings, has a lot of potential, right? Because here's the big thing about everyone on both rosters. Everyone has a lot of potential to grow as a player, right? I think that is the key thing about us as players, is that we all have great potential. Which is like, it's kind of hard to keep saying for everyone, oh, you have a lot of potential, you have a lot of potential. But I think Liam, if he gets his mental under control and he's able to trust his teammates more and really kind of try to be like a role model for some people on D2, or try to push people on D2, not like push them to try harder, right? Because you want someone on your team to push you to do better. And I think if he takes his passive aggressiveness and turns it into a positive thing and constructive criticism, while also receiving constructive criticism well, because I think that's another part that he lacks in, I think you can really become a fantastic player, especially for D1 later in the future. I'm going to put Austin in at the C slot. Austin had a lot of experience playing on D1 when we only had one roster, which I think is what makes him a good player. Austin just has a couple of issues of his own, and you could say that's an unfair assessment. But I think tunnel visioning is one of his biggest problems, right? He's also deaf in 1 ear, so it's kind of hard for him to, use sound cues all the time. But I think Austin's biggest problem is inconsistency and tunnel visioning. And when like a call is made, sometimes he gets overwhelmed, just like other people get overwhelmed. But I think him in particular gets overwhelmed easily in a lot of senses. So then he's off kiltered and isn't accustomed to being in clutch situations. When he is a support player, then it's kind of hard for him. But I think when he's been put in more of those situations, he has grown as a player over time. And then obviously I would put Eli at the A position. The reason I'm putting Eli at the A is because at the beginning of the year, he had a lot of mental problems. So he had a lot of problems trusting his teammates, a little bit of an ego, was inconsistent because he was getting frustrated easily. And I think he's now starting to get in that position where Sean is, where if he can not get upset as easily, he has a lot of fragging power, trusting his teammates, he will be a really good player. I think trusting his teammates and playing around his teammates is going to be his biggest upbringing as a player. Now here comes the hard part, right? It's, where do I put the rest of us? Where do I put myself, Mason, Emilio, and Jeff? I think I'm going to put Mason at the 4th slot, and then myself at the 2, Emilio, or at the 3, Emilio at the 2, and Jeff as the 1, right? So now I'm going to explain my reasoning, because I did that very quick. I want to go over it very quick. Now I'm going to explain my reasoning for all of it, right? I think Mason he's had a lot of fear problems when it comes to being an entry. I think him working in tandem with myself made him less fearful, especially when it comes to trusting teammates when they're droning for him, and him just going into the map, getting kills, taking space has really made him a good player. In the early parts of the year, he had a lot of inconsistency issues. Again, he's overcome those. What he has over Alex is he plays smarter or has the tendency to play smarter, right? I don't think he plays smarter 100% of the time, but I do think he play smarter than Alex, and I think his skill ceiling is a lot higher. I'm putting myself at the B because I think my game sense is on par, if not like the best on the team. Obviously there's a little biasness there, and that's why I'm giving myself the B slot and not the A slot, because I know my weaknesses. My game sense is where I'm really good at. My droning is where I'm really good at. In terms of being able to call certain things, or sometimes my mechanics aren't the best, I will full-handedly like say my mechanics are not the best of the team. It's something that I constantly have to work on. But I think game knowledge, experience, sense, the ability to play any role and be good at it, but mainly a support player, and the ability to clutch in a lot of situations is where I thrive as a player, right? I'm a really good support player. It's my role, it's my position, it's what I've known, and it's what I'm good at, and I'm okay with accepting that. I've kind of switched over to more of a flex role, which I think enables me more, especially for more kills, and allows me to use my brain and help the team a bit more rather than just pure droning, which I kind of like. Emilio, I'm going to put at the A slot because his mechanics are good. The reason he's not the best player is because he doesn't know what to do in clutch situations a lot of the time, or he waits till the diffuser is down and then he'll start pushing. He just kind of doesn't know when to get aggressive in those situations. Again, his mechanics are really good. If you feed him ones, he's going to take advantage of those, and he's really going to punish your team for it. I think he's a really good player. He has good calls. He has a really good mental. He's right under Jeff, and Jeff, I think, is the best player. Most experience on the team. Really great player, really great mechanics, has the best, game sense and game knowledge on the team. I think he and I rival each other when it comes to game sense and game knowledge. Overall, great competitive player. Yeah, he can get upset at times, but overall, he doesn't get outwardly upset as much as I do, or Alex, or Jeff. Overall, is just the best player, hands down, on the team. Now, like I said, this list can fluctuate throughout the year, right? There's times where, there might be a time where Mason moves above me for whatever reason, and Sean might go ahead of Alex, or Liam might go ahead of Eli. You never know. This list is kind of ever changing, but as of right now, January 2020 or January 23rd, 2023, I think this is where this list stands. And again, I don't think these players are bad, right? I think especially D2, they have a lot of potential. They have a lot to learn. They can grow as players, especially over the course of the year. Last semester, I think they've grown as players in terms of being team players and in a comp setting. And then I can only imagine how much better they're going to get this year and in the off season for summer. I'm excited for them. There's a lot for them to learn, like I said, but they're going to be really good players. And again, for D1, I just think, we are all good at our specific things. Especially when it comes to, mechanics and game sense and yada, yada, yada. I think we all add a piece to the puzzle that allows us to be a really good team. I think if each individual player focused on working on their weaknesses, then we'd become even better and potentially a top team, right? I think in the last Dirt Report, they put us at number 4 or something like that. We were in the top 4, so that's good. We're a top 4 team. I'm excited, especially for this season, starting Wednesday, the 25th. So we'll see where we go from here. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. I enjoy making these types of videos. I want to do more videos centered around myself, the team, just stuff about the Davenport team in general, the Davenport R6 team. I think doing more team related content is going to be great, especially behind the scenes videos and stuff like that. So again, if you guys enjoy these types of videos, let me know, especially by leaving a comment or like down below. If you really loved it and love supporting me, then think about subscribing. Until next time, guys, see ya.